Belief has a profound influence on the human body, not as a vague emotional comfort, but as a powerful internal signal that shapes how the mind and physiology respond to pressure, uncertainty, and adversity. When belief is anchored in faith and trust rather than fear, the body receives a message of safety. This sense of safety is not symbolic, it is biological. The nervous system begins to shift away from constant alert and defense, allowing the body to move from survival mode into restoration. Stress, which is one of the greatest hidden contributors to illness, weakens the immune system, disrupts hormonal balance, impairs digestion, and accelerates fatigue. Belief interrupts this cycle by calming the mind and stabilizing the emotional center, creating the conditions necessary for healing to begin. Many people live with their bodies locked in a state of tension without realizing it. Worry about the future, fear of illness, unresolved emotional pain, and feelings of helplessness keep stress hormones elevated for long periods. Over time, this chronic stress exhausts the body's natural defenses. Belief functions as a counterforce to this damage. When a person truly believes that God is present, attentive, and actively working, the mind releases its grip on constant fear. This release sends signals through the brain that reduce cortisol levels, slow heart rate, and improve breathing patterns. In this calmer state, the body is no longer fighting invisible threats and can redirect its energy toward repair, immune response, and cellular renewal. There is a critical difference between passive optimism and active belief. Optimism hopes things will improve. Belief rests in the assurance that God is already at work. This assurance stabilizes emotional responses and prevents the mind from spiraling into worst-case scenarios. When belief replaces panic, the body experiences fewer inflammatory responses, improved sleep quality, and better regulation of blood pressure. These changes are not imagined. They are measurable effects of reduced stress on the body. Healing does not begin only with medication or procedures. It begins when the internal environment becomes favorable for recovery, and belief plays a central role in shaping that environment. One of the most damaging effects of stress is its ability to disconnect the mind from the body. People under constant stress often ignore physical signals, suppress emotions, and push through exhaustion. Belief restores awareness and balance. When faith is present, individuals become more attentive to their bodies, more patient with their limitations, and more compassionate toward themselves. This mindset reduces emotional strain and prevents the self-blame that often worsens illness. Belief reassures the heart that weakness is not failure and that rest is not defeat. This emotional relief lightens the body's load and supports the healing process. Belief also influences how the body processes pain. While pain may still be present, belief changes its intensity and meaning. When pain is interpreted through fear, it becomes overwhelming and exhausting. When pain is approached with belief, it becomes manageable and less consuming. Faith-based belief provides emotional grounding, preventing pain from escalating into despair. This emotional stability helps regulate muscle tension and nervous system responses, which often amplify physical discomfort. By calming the mind, belief reduces the body's tendency to magnify pain signals, allowing healing mechanisms to function more effectively. Another essential aspect of belief is its impact on sleep, which is one of the body's most powerful healing tools. Stress disrupts sleep cycles, preventing deep rest and regeneration. Belief quiets the mind at night, reducing racing thoughts and emotional agitation. When a person entrusts their worries to God, the mind releases its need to control every outcome. This surrender creates mental stillness, allowing the body to enter deeper stages of sleep where tissue repair, immune strengthening, and hormonal regulation occur. Rest becomes restorative rather than restless, accelerating recovery and improving overall health. Belief also strengthens emotional resilience during prolonged health challenges. Chronic conditions, long recoveries, and uncertain diagnoses often produce emotional fatigue that weakens the body over time. Belief sustains hope without denial. It allows individuals to acknowledge their condition while remaining anchored in trust. This balance prevents emotional collapse and supports consistent self-care. When belief is present, people are less likely to abandon treatment, neglect nutrition, or isolate themselves emotionally. Instead, they remain engaged in their healing journey, which significantly improves long-term outcomes. The body responds not only to what we do, but to what we expect. Expectation influences motivation, adherence to healthy habits, and willingness to persevere through discomfort. Belief sets positive expectations rooted in faith rather than fear. When individuals believe that healing is possible and that their lives hold purpose beyond illness, they are more likely to nourish their bodies, manage stress responsibly, and maintain emotional balance. These behaviors reinforce the healing process, creating a cycle of improvement rather than decline. Belief also protects the heart from emotional overload. Stress often arises from feeling alone in suffering. Belief removes isolation by affirming divine presence. This sense of companionship reduces emotional weight and provides comfort during difficult moments. Emotional support, even when spiritually perceived, has a direct effect on physical health. It lowers stress markers, supports cardiovascular function, and improves emotional regulation. The heart responds not only to physical conditions but to emotional states, and belief nurtures a sense of peace that protects both. Importantly, belief does not require the absence of fear. It requires the decision to trust despite fear. This decision has physiological consequences. When fear is acknowledged but not allowed to dominate, the body avoids the constant spikes in stress response that damage tissues and systems over time. Belief creates emotional boundaries that prevent stress from overwhelming the body. It teaches the mind to pause, breathe, and realign with truth, restoring internal balance. Belief also helps the body recover from emotional trauma, which often manifests as physical symptoms. Unresolved emotional pain can lead to chronic tension, digestive issues, and weakened immunity. Faith-based belief encourages emotional release, forgiveness, and acceptance, reducing the body's burden of stored stress. As emotional wounds begin to heal, physical symptoms often lessen. The connection between emotional health and physical health becomes evident, and belief acts as the bridge that facilitates this integration. Ultimately, belief transforms the internal climate of the body. It replaces constant alarm with steady trust, emotional chaos with inner order, and exhaustion with renewed strength. Healing is not forced, it is allowed. When belief calms the mind, the body receives permission to heal. Strength returns gradually, resilience increases, and the individual experiences not only improved health, but a deeper sense of peace. Belief does not deny reality, it reshapes how reality is processed. In doing so, it becomes a vital contributor to health, restoration, and sustained well-being. Belief plays a decisive role in shaping mental resilience, which in turn directly influences physical endurance. The way a person interprets difficulty determines whether the body perceives a challenge as a threat or as something it can withstand. When belief is rooted in faith and inner trust, the mind develops the capacity to remain steady under pressure. This steadiness prevents emotional collapse, preserves focus, and conserves energy that would otherwise be consumed by fear and discouragement. Mental resilience does not remove hardship, but it changes how hardship is carried, allowing the body to endure without breaking under strain. The human body is designed to respond to the signals it receives from the mind. When the mind is overwhelmed, the body follows, experiencing fatigue, muscle tension, and reduced stamina. Belief interrupts this downward cycle by providing meaning and direction in the midst of difficulty. When individuals believe that their struggle has purpose and that God is present within the process, they are less likely to surrender to exhaustion. This belief stabilizes emotional responses and prevents the mind from entering states of hopelessness that rapidly drain physical strength. Mental resilience is not an inherited trait reserved for a few. It is a cultivated state shaped by repeated patterns of belief. Each time a person chooses trust over despair, the mind strengthens its capacity to cope. Over time, this practice builds psychological endurance, enabling individuals to face longer periods of stress without emotional burnout. This endurance is reflected physically through improved stamina, better pain tolerance, and increased capacity to sustain effort even when conditions are demanding. The body draws strength from the mind's refusal to give up. Belief also influences how individuals respond to setbacks. Without belief, setbacks are interpreted as confirmation of weakness or failure, leading to emotional withdrawal and physical decline. With belief, setbacks become temporary pauses rather than permanent defeats. This shift in interpretation protects motivation and preserves energy. Instead of collapsing under disappointment, individuals remain engaged and forward-looking, which supports consistent movement, rehabilitation, and physical activity essential for maintaining endurance. One of the greatest drains on physical endurance is emotional exhaustion. Constant worry, self-doubt, and fear consume mental resources that the body relies on to function efficiently. Belief reduces this emotional leakage by anchoring the mind in assurance. When trust replaces constant questioning, the mind becomes less fragmented and more focused. This mental clarity translates into smoother physical performance, better coordination, and sustained energy levels. The body performs best when the mind is unified rather than divided by anxiety. Belief also strengthens discipline, which is a cornerstone of both mental resilience and physical endurance. Faith-based belief encourages commitment even when motivation fluctuates. It teaches individuals to persist not because they feel strong, but because they trust the process and the purpose behind it. This discipline supports regular movement, therapy, exercise, and recovery routines that gradually build physical capacity. Endurance is rarely the result of sudden strength. It is the outcome of consistent effort sustained over time, and belief sustains that consistency. Another critical dimension of belief is its ability to regulate emotional responses to discomfort. Physical endurance often requires tolerating a degree of pain, fatigue, or discomfort. When discomfort is interpreted as danger, the body reacts defensively, reducing performance and increasing stress. When discomfort is understood through belief as part of growth or healing, the mind remains calm. This calmness prevents excessive stress responses and allows the body to continue functioning efficiently. Belief does not eliminate discomfort, but it prevents it from becoming overwhelming. Belief also reinforces identity, which strongly influences resilience. Individuals who believe they are fragile, defeated, or defined by illness often unconsciously limit their physical efforts. In contrast, those who believe they are supported by God and capable of growth approach challenges with greater confidence. This confidence affects posture, breathing, and muscle engagement, all of which contribute to physical endurance. The body aligns itself with the identity the mind holds, making belief a powerful determinant of performance. Mental resilience, shaped by belief, also enhances recovery. Endurance is not only about how long one can perform, but how effectively one can recover afterward. Belief promotes patience and self-regulation during rest, preventing guilt-driven overexertion. It encourages listening to the body and honoring the need for restoration. This balanced approach prevents injury, reduces relapse, and supports sustainable endurance, rather than short bursts of effort followed by collapse. Belief further strengthens endurance by fostering hope during prolonged challenges. Long-term health struggles, rehabilitation processes, or lifestyle changes require sustained effort without immediate results. Without belief, the absence of quick improvement leads to frustration and abandonment. Belief sustains motivation by focusing on long-term outcomes rather than short-term discomfort. This perspective allows individuals to remain engaged even when progress feels slow, preserving both mental and physical strength over time. The interaction between belief and endurance becomes especially evident under pressure. When external circumstances intensify, belief acts as an internal stabilizer. It prevents emotional panic and maintains mental clarity, enabling the body to respond efficiently rather than react impulsively. This stability reduces unnecessary energy expenditure and supports sustained performance. In moments where quitting feels justified, belief quietly reinforces perseverance. allowing endurance to extend beyond perceived limits. Belief also shapes how individuals speak to themselves during moments of strain. Internal dialogue can either drain or reinforce endurance. Faith-centered belief promotes self-talk grounded in encouragement rather than criticism. This supportive internal language reduces emotional stress and helps maintain rhythm and momentum. The body responds to this encouragement by sustaining effort rather than shutting down under pressure. Over time, belief-based resilience creates a feedback loop. Each experience of endurance reinforces confidence, and each moment of perseverance strengthens belief. This cycle builds a foundation of strength that extends beyond physical challenges into all areas of life. The individual becomes less reactive, more stable, and better equipped to handle adversity without sacrificing health. Physical endurance improves not because the body becomes invincible, but because the mind becomes resilient. Belief ultimately teaches the body how to endure without fear. It replaces panic with purpose, exhaustion with meaning, and strain with determination. When the mind is anchored in trust, the body learns to persist calmly rather than struggle desperately. This calm persistence conserves energy, supports physiological balance, and enables sustained strength even in demanding circumstances. Through belief, mental resilience and physical endurance grow together, reinforcing one another in a steady, life-supporting rhythm. Belief serves as a powerful internal compass that guides daily decisions, shaping behaviors that either sustain life or slowly diminish it. When belief is grounded in faith, purpose, and personal value, it influences choices at the most practical level. Health is rarely lost or restored in a single moment. It is shaped through repeated decisions made in ordinary circumstances. Belief determines whether those decisions align with care, discipline, and long-term well-being or drift toward neglect and harm. When individuals believe their lives carry meaning and that their bodies are entrusted to them with purpose, healthy choices become an act of responsibility rather than obligation. Many unhealthy habits are not the result of ignorance, but of disconnection. People often know what is beneficial, yet struggle to act accordingly because their belief system is weakened by discouragement, low self-worth, or emotional fatigue. Belief restores alignment between knowledge and action. When faith affirms that life is valuable and the future is worth preparing for, motivation naturally increases. This internal conviction supports choices that nourish the body, regulate emotions, and preserve energy. Healthy behavior becomes consistent when it is supported by belief rather than driven by guilt or fear. Belief also influences how individuals relate to their bodies. Without belief, the body is often treated as expendable, ignored, or punished through overwork and harmful patterns. With belief, the body is recognized as deserving care and respect. This shift changes how people approach nutrition, rest, and movement. Eating becomes intentional rather than impulsive. Rest is viewed as restoration rather than weakness. Physical activity is embraced as stewardship rather than pressure. These changes may appear small, but over time they create powerful momentum towards sustained health. Daily routines are strongly shaped by what individuals believe about their worth and future. When belief is absent, short-term comfort often overrides long-term benefit. When belief is present, individuals are more willing to make choices that protect their health, even when those choices require patience or restraint. Faith-based belief provides a reason to delay gratification, resist harmful habits, and maintain balance. This perspective strengthens self-regulation, which is essential for avoiding behaviors that undermine physical and emotional well-being. Belief also plays a critical role in emotional regulation, which directly affects health choices. Emotional instability often drives unhealthy coping mechanisms such as overeating, substance use, or neglect of self-care. Belief provides emotional grounding, helping individuals respond to stress without resorting to destructive habits. Trust in God's presence reduces the need to seek comfort in harmful behaviors. Emotional stability allows for clearer judgment, better impulse control, and more thoughtful responses to daily challenges, all of which support healthier living. The influence of belief extends to consistency, one of the most important factors in sustaining health. Healthy habits lose their effectiveness when practiced sporadically. Belief strengthens commitment by anchoring actions in purpose rather than mood. Even on difficult days, belief encourages follow-through. Individuals who believe their efforts matter and that their health journey is meaningful are more likely to maintain routines over time. This consistency builds resilience and prevents the cycle of progress followed by relapse that undermines long-term health. Another essential aspect of belief is its impact on how individuals respond to failure. Health journeys are rarely linear. Without belief, setbacks are interpreted as evidence of inability, leading to abandonment of healthy practices. With belief, setbacks are viewed as temporary interruptions rather than defining moments. This mindset preserves motivation and prevents discouragement from eroding progress. Individuals remain engaged and willing to restart, adjust, and continue their pursuit of well-being. Belief also influences how individuals engage with medical guidance and professional care. When belief affirms that life is worth protecting, people are more likely to seek timely care, follow treatment plans, and communicate openly with healthcare providers. This proactive engagement improves outcomes and prevents minor issues from becoming severe. Belief does not replace medical care. It enhances cooperation with it by reinforcing responsibility and hope. Long-term health depends heavily on lifestyle choices that are maintained over years rather than weeks. Belief provides the endurance required for this sustained commitment. It reminds individuals that health is not merely about avoiding illness, but about preserving the ability to serve, love, and fulfill purpose. This broader perspective transforms healthy habits from temporary projects into lifelong practices. Actions are no longer driven by fear of disease, but by respect for life. Belief also encourages mindfulness, which supports healthier choices. When individuals believe that each moment has significance, they become more attentive to their physical and emotional states. This awareness helps identify early signs of imbalance and respond proactively. Mindfulness reduces reactive behavior and supports deliberate, health-sustaining decisions. Over time, this awareness strengthens the connection between belief and behavior, reinforcing positive patterns. The cumulative effect of belief-driven choices is profound. Each decision, guided by faith and purpose, contributes to a stable foundation of health. Energy improves, emotional balance strengthens, and physical resilience increases. These changes are not dramatic in isolation, but together they shape a life marked by vitality and endurance. Belief quietly influences every choice, turning ordinary actions into instruments of preservation and growth. Ultimately, belief transforms health from a reactive pursuit into a proactive way of living. It aligns values, intentions, and behaviors, creating harmony between mind, body, and spirit. Through belief, individuals develop habits that sustain life, protect strength, and support long-term well-being. Choices become expressions of faith in the future, rather than reactions to the past, establishing a pattern of living that honors both health and purpose.